What up, all my fight fans? So, what can we say about this past Friday night fights? My God, what a very big disappointment we had, right? I mean, from top to bottom, it was just all around very, very disappointing. And you know what's even sadder? These fights came from not even guys with older age who are slower. All these guys were young, up and coming fighters that should have wanted to prove something, that should have said, hey, we are the new generation of boxing, that we are the ones that are going to make a statement, that we are the ones that are going to show everybody that boxing isn't dead, but instead their roles were reversed, and they are the reason why boxing is dying now. They are the reason why. Like, they are basically showing us, like, hey, we are making millions and millions and millions of dollars, and we don't care about performing at the highest level. We don't care about knockouts. We don't care about stoppages. We don't care about going toe to toe and going to war with each other. We just care about going in there, possibly having a sparring match, maybe getting knocked down if we're lucky, and getting the win and going home. That's all I saw and all I got from Friday night's fights from the young up and comers. So let's get into it, shall we? You had Rolly Romero taking on Ryan Garcia in the main event. Ryan Garcia looked nothing like he looked against Devin Haney in his fight last year. But Ryan Garcia came off a year layoff and definitely, like I just said, did not look the exact same, especially after that second round knockdown from Rolly Romero. Rolly Romero pretty much played it very, very safe after that knockdown. He didn't necessarily look like he was going for the kill. These guys didn't really put combinations together. It was like almost a padding match, a sparring match, a couple of jabs, a couple small combinations, but nothing lightning, nothing really powerful, nothing really that made us look like, oh my God, we're going into some kind of battle. None of these guys did that. You know, Ryan Garcia was very tentative, very scared. I don't want to say, you know what, that's wrong word of words, not scared, but very tentative, I should say, for sure, because of that knockdown that he did. It seemed like he did not want to go against, get knocked down again. But at the end of the day, that's boxing. You know, you're going in there. It's the hurt business, and it's potentially that you could get stopped, you could get knocked down, and you can't go in there thinking that you're going to get hurt all the time, or afraid to get hurt, I should say, because it's possible. So, you know, unfortunately, Ryan Garcia did not want to get put down anymore. Ryan Garcia did not want to get stopped, so he really didn't take very many chances at all. Rolly Romero played it safe to himself. You know, he did open up a little bit more, and he looked really, really good, I should say. You know, this is a big performance, or excuse me, a big win for Rolly Romero in his welterweight debut. You know, he fought against Isaac Cruz and Gervonta Davis. Both fights didn't necessarily go his way, but this is a big statement for him. I think he is by far the biggest winner of Friday night fights, but still, nonetheless, it wasn't the greatest performance ever. So what's next for Rolly? I'm not sure, especially after the way everything transpired. You know, but let's get into the next after we talk about everyone else. Same thing with Ryan Garcia. On the co-main event, you had Devin Haney taking on Jose Ramirez, and that was by far one of the most boring fights I've ever seen. It was more of a, not even a sparring match. It was almost a track star match. It was I would say a guy's pretty much a marathon. It was literally moving and moving, running and running, following and following. These guys had the lowest output compared to all the other fights that we just recently saw this weekend. It was a disgrace, a very big disgrace, very, very boring again. These guys are too young up and comers, especially Devin Haney, who was on the pound for pound list, and he did not show me that he was a pound for pound fighter. You know, he had a tough year himself. I believe this is his first fight coming back from Ryan Garcia's fight. And again, we all saw that performance that he put on against Ryan Garcia. Did not necessarily go his way. And maybe that's the reason why he did not want to go toe-to-toe with Ramirez. But at the end of the day, this is boxing. You got to be willing to take chances. You got to be willing to risk it all. If you do not do that, if you do not try your best to go out there and put it all on the line, then you're pretty much not giving us, your fans, a reason to see you, a reason for why you should be making all that money, you know. So at the end of the day, there really isn't much to talk about. Same thing, there really isn't much to talk about with Teofimo Lopez and Arnold Barboza. That seemed to be a little bit more action, but at the end of the day, again, these guys did not throw. These guys did not throw enough. It was, these guys were moving a lot, very tentative, very nervous to really let their hands go because they did not want to get countered and put down. It was just, oh God, I cannot explain it enough. I can't even break down the fights enough because there really isn't not a whole lot to break down regarding these fights, because these guys didn't really do a whole lot in these fights. So let's get into what's next for these guys. Well, you know, Rolly Romero just came off a very impressive victory for himself, a big win, and he's in the welterweight division. The welterweight division isn't necessarily stacked like it used to be back in the day. You know, there really isn't a whole lot of great fighters out there, but I can't really say what should be next for him. Maybe I would say a Teofimo Lopez. Maybe Teofimo Lopez could move up and those two guys could go at it. That would actually be a little interesting, a little bit more fun. Where Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, you know, these guys, again, even though Ryan Garcia lost and even though Devin Haney came off a very unimpressive victory, these guys should still go at it, because if they lose again, it's just going to be more dead in the water. You know, the fight, the part two of these guys, of Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, the big fight that could have transpired this past Friday, what we did want to see, instead we got Rolly Romero and what have you, but that fight should definitely happen next. Only reason because, again, if these guys do not fight each other and they fight somebody else and they end up losing or looking very, very bad, the fight is going to be less and less more attractive. So that would be my best thing for them to do, is Ryan Garcia taking on Devin Haney now. Now you got to do it next. You got to do it next, because if you don't do it next, your guys are just going to lose more steam, unless you want to take that risk of fighting somebody else and looking good in the next fight. Could possibly happen. Can't disregard that being a potentially happening, but it's just, I don't see it likely to happen, and I rather, instead of, you know, risking the big fight from happening again, risking that part two, that fight that we actually do want to see, I'd rather have it happen now. That's my personal opinion, guys, but I would like to hear your guys' opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.